This is an expectation, and that's not going to change.
Decatur Public School Superintendent is demanding safe schools for her students that have been back in the classroom now for less than a month. But the halls of the district's high schools and even middle schools have already seen several violent encounters.
Thanks for staying up with us tonight. WAD's Alyssa Patrick investigates how the district and police are working to get this issue under control and their message for parents tonight.
Violence in Decatur schools. In the first 2 weeks of the semester, Decatur police were called out to Eisenhower, MacArthur, and Stephen Decatur Middle School for multiple fights and aggravated battery reports.
The beginning of the school year is always our most difficult time of the year.
In at least one fight at MacArthur and Eisenhower high schools, school resource officers had to use mace to get a crowd of students under control.
They don't take preventative measures or defensive measures before they make physical contact. What you're basically asking them to do is to go in there and get into a physical fight with juveniles.
Chief Brandell says while SROs never want to pepper spray students, it can be the fastest and safest way to stop a large fight.
Because if we let it go on, somebody's going to get hurt. I mean, the officer can't handle 6 people at once.
Parents say the violence is already taking away from students who are there to learn.
My daughter's trying to get an education here as well, so if they're going to have all these fights, disrupting and everything and spraying pepper spray, my daughter's not getting a real education through all that.
Superintendent Dr. Rochelle Clark says that's why her staff is taking action.
We're here to not only learn, but have a good time learning. But at the same time, when you have kids that are going to disrupt the learning environment, they're going to be dealt with accordingly.
She says students involved in fights have been disciplined, and an intervention meeting is happening with families before a student returns to school.
So if we suspended a student for whatever reason, they're coming back with the parents and we're having that reset moment, that conversation, because they need to understand that each time we are going to have to remove you if it's egregious enough.
Dr. Clark says she hopes these early interventions and police action will stop fights from getting worse, but she's also preparing if they don't.
I am hoping that things will change, but I'm also starting conversations about next steps because you should always be prepared.
Jones and other parents say they want to see ISB give districts more flexibility to suspend and expel problem students.
They just are like, okay, slap on the wrist, I'll be back tomorrow to do it again. And they don't care what they're interrupting because those are the type of kids that aren't here for education.
Both Clark and the police department are now asking parents to step up and help.
The police have a role to play, the district has a role to play, and parents have a role to play. At what point are we going to ask parents to actually be parents?
If we're talking to kids about expectations, parents, can you please reinforce those? Because together is the only way we're going to change it.
Reporting in Decatur, Alyssa Patrick, WAND News.
Superintendent Dr. Clark says she's not ready to share what next steps the district may be taking, but is expected to make an announcement soon. WAND News will continue to follow this developing story.